A sigh, a rustle of silk, the faint scent of lavender and something older like mothballs. A gentle, melodic voice begins, laced with a weary sadness. Oh, darling, you wouldn't believe the things one endures in the pursuit of, well, frankly, a decent holiday. It's rather pathetic, isn't it, to lavish so much expectation upon a temporary cessation of life's tedium, only to find oneself plunged into a veritable abyss of disappointment. But it happened, you see, it truly happened. And I feel it's my duty perhaps to chronicle it. A cautionary tale, if you will, for those of us blessed or cursed, depending on your perspective, with a discerning palate and an utter intolerance for the subpar. It started, as these things often do, with a promise. A glossy brochure, turquoise water, opulent sunbeds, a buffet, can you imagine, overflowing with delicacies, each morsel a culinary poem. The Grand Cettia Hotel Marmaris. It sounded divine. My mother always said, a gilded cage is still a cage, Svetochka, but honestly a gilded cage is rather preferable to a, well, we shall see. We arrived, of course, amidst a chaos. Not the charming, bustling chaos of a vibrant marketplace, oh no. This was the chaos of utter, overwhelming density. And I do mean dense. More bodies than one might reasonably expect to encounter outside of a sardine factory. Immediately a prickling sense of unease began to form. It's a physiological response, you understand. Humans require personal space, a bubble of autonomy. When that bubble is breached, it triggers ancestral alarm bells. You see, when you're pressed against strangers, it isn't just a lack of comfort, it's a loss of control. It's deeply, inherently unsettling. And the masks, oh the masks, or rather the criminal lack of them, in the age of you-know. The global unpleasantness. Guests milling about, faces exposed, breathing all over everything. It wasn't merely a disregard for public health, darling, it was a fundamental disrespect for the concept of common courtesy. Like hello. Remember pandemics? Or are some people simply oblivious, existing in a self-constructed bubble of blissful ignorance? This place knew this was happening and they weren't doing anything to fix this. That's when I knew I was in trouble. The sunbed's a horror show. Crammed together so tightly, one could scarcely extend a limb without invading someone else's personal sphere. The mathematics were simply appalling. A perfectly rectangular pool, overstated claim, surrounded by sunbeds packed like anchovies. And of course, the race. The unseemly scramble at approximately 7:30 a.m. as guests abandoned all pretense of civility in a desperate attempt to secure a sliver of plastic. A competition for what? The right to be uncomfortably close to other sweating, jostling bodies. It's unfulfilling in the core, it just doesn't feel right. And I dared to venture towards the pool itself. It was, quite frankly, a teeming mass. A sweltering soup of flailing limbs. It wasn't a place for recreation, it was a place for survival. I mean, there was nothing refreshing about that. It's a scary thought that I could just be crushed by this place. It's the lack of attention to detail that needs to be noted. Then, the dining experience. The dining experience, where to even begin? The food itself was an abomination. The lowest common denominator of culinary offerings. Questionable meats, pale vegetables, sauces of indeterminate origin. It smelled and looked tired. It wasn't merely lacking in flavor, it was actively offensive to the palate. Imagine, if you will, a slab of something vaguely resembling chicken, lying forlornly on a buffet table, glistening with a sheen of questionable oil. The texture, simultaneously rubbery and mushy. A truly remarkable feat of culinary incompetence. Spoke to me as though they didn't care about me or they didn't want me here. And the hygiene, please sit down, because this is where it gets truly distressing.
Tables left uncleared, food splattered on the floor, tongs abandoned in precarious positions. I actually witnessed a guest dropping a piece of food, picking it up, and placing.
Okay, so I was looking into things, around the Grand Cettia Hotel in Marmaris. It's depressing, honestly. Like you think you're going on holiday, a nice 2 weeks, and then this. Businesses around here, a lot of them, they seem to cut corners, let's say. Especially with drinks. It's like they'll sell you alcohol, but it's not really what it says on the bottle, is it? Watered down or just fake. I heard about tourists near the Grand Cettia. They bought what they thought was proper vodka, ended up feeling awful, sick all night. Probably ruined a good chunk of their holiday. They likely complained to the tour operator, got maybe a small refund, but the trust is gone, right? The people who did this, they probably just keep doing it, honestly. Small fine maybe, or nothing at all. It's just sad. Then there's this other thing, it's so silly, but still. Shops near the Grand Cettia, they accidentally drop a shoe brush near you, and then they offer to clean your shoes because like they're being nice, but then they demand money. Who does that, seriously? I bet a lot of tourists embarrassed just pay. They probably feel stupid afterwards, but what are you gonna do, argue over a few lira? The guy doing it probably made enough that day to buy himself a nice tea, and then did it again to the next person. It's not a big deal to him, is it? It's like everyone else trying to get a little extra money, especially around places like the Grand Cettia where there are so many tourists. It feels so greedy. You just want a nice holiday, a break from everything, and you end up having to be suspicious of everyone. I imagine after getting scammed like that, people just get really wary. They stop looking at the shops properly, stop smiling at people. It makes you feel bad for them, doesn't it, knowing their holiday has been tainted like that. And those guys, they'll be there tomorrow, doing it all over again.
The businesses surrounding the Grand Cettia Hotel in Marmaris, they present a particular landscape, a feeling I can only describe as a slow, creeping disappointment. It's not a place brimming with opportunity, it's a place where a sense of weary resignation settles over you, like dust motes in a neglected room. It feels like a collection of establishments that have slowly, subtly, forgotten what hospitality truly means. A forgotten memory of what it once was. Let's begin with the Grand Bazaar. Now, bazaars are supposed to be vibrant, exciting, a kaleidoscope of colors and scents. This one feels like a carefully constructed trap. It's as if the very air is thick, with the intention to extract as much money as possible from anyone who dares to wander within its walls. The stories are consistent, a relentless pressure, an aggressive insistence. Shopkeepers aren't offering you a delightful cultural experience, they're sizing you up, calculating your vulnerability. They're practicing the art of the subtle and not so subtle con. Take, for instance, the shop called Pablo, a name now etched in my mind with a sense of profound distrust. It's not just that prices are inflated, that's expected, part of the game. It's the deliberate deception, the attempt to quote nearly 3 times the reasonable price, and then the condescension when challenged. It speaks to a fundamental disrespect, a belief that tourists are simply walking wallets. There's a chilling account of a card payment mysteriously doubling in value, a clever sleight of hand, a practiced skill. It leaves you wondering what other tricks are being employed, how many others have walked away feeling cheated, violated even. And it's not an isolated incident. The story of a man aggressively demanding extra money for a t-shirt, ripping it from a customer's hands, screaming and swearing. It's not just bad manners, it's a display of entitlement, a feeling of impunity. There's a sense that these shopkeepers believe they can behave however they want, consequences be damned. One review described it as needing guts, audacity and boldness to out-talk the shopkeepers. It's a battle of wills, not a pleasant shopping experience. Another warned of toilet charges hidden until after use, a blatant attempt to exploit a basic human need. It's a disheartening pattern. The bazaar isn't a place to find treasures, it's a place to practice vigilance and expect the worst. It's a place where kindness is perceived as weakness. Moving on to Armutalan Turkish bath, one hoped for a sanctuary of tranquility, a traditional experience of cleansing and relaxation. What many find instead is a chaotic, overcrowded, and deeply uncomfortable environment. The reports of mixed-gender bathing, unwanted attention from male staff during treatments, a man casually joining a woman's massage, it's deeply disturbing. It's a blatant disregard for personal boundaries, a violation of trust. A sense of vulnerability washes over me even recounting it. And the upselling, the constant, relentless attempts to extract more money for additional services. It's not a spa experience, it's a sales pitch disguised as self-care. The reports of waiting for extended periods, crammed into uncomfortable spaces, only to receive a rushed, inadequate treatment. It's a cynical exploitation of a cultural tradition. One review painted a picture of employees smoking indoors and a boss screaming at staff in front of customers. It sounds less like a haven of relaxation and more like a factory of discomfort. The reports of extortionate drink prices are a minor annoyance compared to the larger concerns, but they contribute to the overall feeling of being exploited. This isn't self-care, it's self-sacrifice.